Hello and welcome to the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is the best way for you to exit your high-end luxury primary home cryptocurrency, save a failed 1031 exchange. I'm your host, Brett Swarts. Each episode, I am joined by some of the best real estate, financial, business, and wealth minds in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration. So together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. We're also streaming on expertcresecrets.com. And from time to time, we're bringing on expert real estate brokers. And today's guest is going to teach us a thing or two and inspire us. He's from the great state of Rhode Island, and he has sold over 500 units and over $140 million worth of real estate in 2019. And also for the past 3 years, he has earned the top selling agent nationwide for Keller Williams. Please welcome to the show with me, Kyle Seyboth. Hey, Kyle, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Hey, better than I deserve. Glad to have you on. For our listeners, get to know you for the first time, would you give us a little bit more about your background and your current focus?
So, to your point, yes, I was with Keller Williams. I was the number one agent there for 5 years, 2016 to 4 years, 2016 to 2019. Just made the switch over, as you can see behind me, to Century 21. On average, the last 3 years, I've closed an average of 500 plus units. So that's either on the buyer side or other side, or the seller side, and just really, focused on being a top selling agent year in and year out, and now growing in many different facets of the business and of other things.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to diving into that. So on becoming the top selling agent nationwide. And this is going to be fun. Before we go there, Kyle, I want our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. I believe we've all been given certain gifts in this life, and these gifts, some people call them strengths or superpowers. Perhaps they're identified at a younger age. So maybe go back to your high school days, right? Maybe your college days, and I want you to identify maybe one or two gifts that you believe you were given, and how does that help how you help and bless people today?
I think the gifts that really help inspire and push people are gifts of discipline, extreme discipline, a hunger and desire for success, and an understanding that the hard work and the determination and the relentlessness is needed to be put into everything you do if you want to get to a super high level. So I think it's discipline, understanding of your surroundings and success and what it takes to get there, and that desire and hunger, and then also your ability to put everything together and manifest into something that was somewhat surreal.
Love that. Now, were those relentless disciplines and hunger something that you kind of feel like you've always kind of had? It was kind of natural, or walk us through for those who say, "Hey, Kyle, you made all the success." Right? Were you always just successful, or what was that? Unlocking that gift that you were given?
So I've always been an athlete. And I think being an athlete, you learn how to deal with adversity. You learn you learn that perfect practice makes perfect. You learn that over time, hard work is what's needed to get to another level, or to grow, or to be better today than you were yesterday, and tomorrow than today. And I think it's that athletic background that's allowed me to understand all the different principles and all the different characteristics of being a successful person, and then taking that and then transferring it into the real world outside of athletics. So I wasn't the tallest, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the quickest, but I put a ton of time in to my athletics and playing basketball specifically that a lot of folks didn't do. So it's having an abnormal appreciation for hard work and practice.
Amazing. Couldn't agree more. And now let's dive right into becoming the top agent nationwide for KW. But now Kyle is with Century 21, which I imagine the goal is to become the number one agent in Century 21. We'll talk about that later. But let's just talk about the journey. You start out, you're not the number one agent. And then you
No,
put in
I
the
mean,
hard work.
I start out as an agent doing 7 transactions, and that's not anything special. That's very average. That's very below average. That's what an average agent does when they just get started. So start out doing beginner type numbers. Takes about 5 years to get to a number where I hit 191. After year 5, kind of catapulted that into 300 plus, then 400, then 500, then where I'm at now. So it was really understanding the landscape of real estate and then understanding how to invest in my business, on my business, and for my business. And those are the things, and that's what it takes to take your business from where you are and that average level to the next level and to that level that many people will never and have never reached. But my whole purpose is to show people that, at the end of the day, you don't have to grow up in the business. You don't have to come from a ton of money. You just have to work hard, build a network, understand, and know what your goals are.
Excellent. So, what's the number one secret to investing in, for, and on your business? And what's the number one that changed it most for you from going from 7 to transactions to over, I think, 191? Give us that first thing that you did that was the catapult to make the switch.
I think in, on, and for the business, one thing that really made the switch for me was you have to start to spend money to make money. And a lot of folks don't understand that spending money, there's a number of ways to spend money, right? So we can spend it in the form of a line item, which is an expense. An expense is something that takes away your revenue when it goes down to the bottom line. But we're not looking at spending money on fixed expenses or variable expenses. We're looking, and what I'm talking about is investing in your brand, investing in your marketing, investing in growing your business through lead generation that's going to provide you a network that you never had. So, for example, if I know 10 people today, but I then invest in my business, and if I then invest in my business and know 20 people next week, now I've got a bigger database and a bigger audience to pull from. So at the end of the day, I think that's really important.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I like that, investing in your brand and your marketing and not looking at it as an expense, but as an investment to grow your business. Fair summary.
hmm hmm
Very good. Okay, so then the number one secret to scaling now. So mindset shifts from expense to investing. Now, what is the way to scale it? What did you do to scale it?
So I'll give you kind of my 2 cents on scalability. In addition to scalability, is divesting in activities that don't provide income. So what I mean by that is I really don't focus on anything in my day, and my day is pretty much set every half hour on the half hour. I really don't focus on anything in my day that doesn't produce income or isn't an income generating activity. If it's not generating income to the top line for one of my businesses, I really don't want to do it. I delegate that to some folks in my office that are really good at performing those tasks.
Excellent. So let's talk about that first biggest one then. Okay, so you're the guy, you're the CEO, the chief everything officer back in the day. You're selling seven deals, whatever a year or whatever it was, and then all of a sudden you're investing in your business and you're divesting in activities which don't produce income. What was that first biggest one that was taking up the most amount of your time that you divested from?
So the biggest one in real estate that I took away was the admin portion of the business. So the paperwork, getting an admin that could help with the paperwork portion to really allow you to focus on the sales or the front end and the back end, right? Focusing on the front end and allowing the back end to be done by an employee. Is really a big one. And then in addition to that, and not to get too granular, but on the real estate side, there's certain tasks throughout a transaction that really don't need me to be there. I can actually delegate that out to someone that works for me that can help us get to that to get us closer to the goal, which is closing the transaction.
Okay, very good. And so admin, paperwork, and so walk us through your average day. What are the three biggest income producing things that you do each day?
So the number one thing is making sure my schedule is ironclad, that I'm not doing anything that's not producing the income that we need, and making sure that the opportunity cost of wherever I am at that is the best use of my time, the best value for my money, and the best opportunity for me to produce income for the organization. Number two, the second most important thing is making sure I'm in front of new clients. New clients are the thing that continue to make the business go round, right? So the more new people that we bring in the door, the more able we are to increase our database and allow us to grow at a certain level. And then number three, make sure that during the day, when there is a problem on the back end, or when there is a problem that needs me to kind of step up, that my staff is cognizant of the fact that that's when I need to get involved. So being able to save the things that need to be saved, being able to be in front of new business at all times, and being able to make sure the schedule is really looking at opportunity costs across all aspects.
Excellent. Okay, so schedule's ironclad in front of new clients because that's the lifeblood to grow the business, and then make sure when there is a problem, your team is compiling all those potential problems, those fires, right? And and I'm hearing you right. Save them for the end of the day for when you're going to sit down and solve those problems, rather
Correct.
than just throwing fireballs at you every day, right? Kyle, it's like they're just going to throw a fireball in the morning and then one at 11 and one at 1, right? Instead, they're going to gather all the fireballs and then bring them at the very end, and then you're going to solve them within 30 minutes or so. Is that a fair summary?
Now, I mean, I say that, right? And at the end of the day, that sounds great in principle, but it doesn't happen.
Okay.
They're throwing fire, they're throwing knives, they're throwing darts, I mean, we got staff throwing everything which way in the kitchen sink at me. It's my ability to say, that can wait, let's do that later. That can
That's the
wait, let's
key.
do that later. Leave me alone, don't bother me with that. So
Taking responsibility for yourself and saying like that can wait, and not letting them. I heard it put throwing the monkey on your back, right? When someone
right.
comes in, they got a monkey on their shoulder and they're going to throw it on yours, and you're going, whoa, don't throw me that monkey. That monkey can wait later. Is that a fair summary?
That's correct.
So owning that leadership, I love that, right? I think there's a book, Extreme Ownership, right? Have you read that book?
No, I don't read very often.
Well, it's a cool book, and it's one of the concepts in there is like you are responsible for the success of everything, right? So at some point, your leadership fell down, and I'm talking to myself too, right? When I'm saying you, I don't mean just you, Kyle, but me, Brett, as well, or anyone who's leading an organization, right? And it ends and starts with you, and so you either didn't do something beforehand, or you're doing something now that is not leading the team correctly. When you take that extreme ownership, things can really move forward. Okay, cool. So we got pretty tactical there. Now let's move into a little bit of the macro. What's the biggest challenge facing realtors in this industry in this day and time of
I
the
mean, the
economy?
biggest challenge right now is that everyone thinks this real estate market is so good, and I'd argue that it's actually one of the worst I've ever seen. And a lot of people are gonna be like, "How can you say that? That's crazy! Oh my God!" No, it's the worst because we've got more realtors than houses. We've got the least amount of supply we've ever had. We've got one half of the transaction that becomes disgruntled and can't get what they want, being buyers, and we have sellers that are getting numbers that are just somewhat egregious in the sense that they're not appraising, banks aren't lending on them, and you're having buyers that are getting remorse, and you're going to start to see a pullback in the market because seller buyers at some point are going to say, I'm overpaying, I overpaid, at this point I need to let this house go. And that's the concern I have. So on the macro level, it's purely a function of lack of supply, increased demand, low interest rates, which all push for a really strong seller market, but make the market so inefficient and make the market in a situation where the leverage is so tilted on the seller side, it's just not an equal playing field.
Wow, very well said. So much there. Yeah, more realtors and houses is what really sticks out to me, right? And the fact that sellers are getting just outrageous prices. I'm in California. You're in Rhode Island, right? The coastal cities, right? Some of the most highest prices is the best way to put it we've ever seen, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down per se. It just depends on, I guess, what micro market you're in. But all that being said, who wins in this scenario then? Who's the winner?
So who wins is The seller that takes advantage of the market because it's so strong, that doesn't have to buy and sell high to buy high. They sell high and either go live somewhere for free or sell high and rent for a short term. The other winners are the investors that make very quick short-term flips that benefit from a market that continues to trend upward. And then the only other winner really is that agent that's able to withstand this market and wait for things to kind of change and build a buyer database that has so many buyers. When the market goes the other way, they're going to be in control of the market.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So here at Capital Gains Tax Solutions, we focus on selling high and buying low, right? Our parents taught us to do that. And now, as a part of that, there's a thing called a 1031 exchange, right? Kyle, and I'm curious, what's been your biggest frustration or your client's frustration when it comes to the 1031 exchange or capital gains tax deferral?
So, I mean, the frustration now is that Biden might eliminate the 1031. From everything I hear, is that that's on the chopping block, and I don't know where that went or if it actually happened. But at the end of the day, I have a background. I have my CFA. I also have my MBA in finance. So I came from that world. I understand that space a little bit as far as the investment side of the equation. But a lot of the investors, when they're doing these 1031s, yes, they're deferring taxes. But at the end of the day, are you deferring taxes with overpaying on another property? So are you just selling high to buy high just for the fact that you're deferring the taxes? And then what's the cost of capital? What does that look like for an investor, right? So yes, you defer the 20% capital gain tax, but are you paying 30% above the market value where you probably would have been better off to sell and pay the tax? Or could you have, by some sort of tax strategy, minimize that tax on that property by either increasing your cost basis by the amount you put into it, or whatever that looks like. So there's a million different ways to skin the cat.
Yeah, we call it the shotgun wedding, Kyle. You got to get engaged in 45 days and married within 180.
Yeah.
And you sell high and you buy higher 180 days later.
Right.
And you take on more debt, equal or greater value, and you love to be a seller, but you hate to be the buyer, right? And this is what happened in the 08, 09, 010 crash. People in 04, 05, 06 love to be sellers, hate it to be buyers.
Right.
And then the music stopped, and you're exactly right. They'd overpaid. They didn't have enough diversification, liquidity. They had too much debt. So, Kyle, if there was a way to defer capital gains tax, sell high and buy whenever you want, would that be of value to you and your clients?
I mean, that would be huge. I mean, personally, I do a lot of investing myself, and I don't do the 1031 because I don't want to have that shotgun wedding. If I have to pay the taxes, it is what it is. I'll move on and find something else. But I think the capital gains tax deferral would be huge. If there were a way to do it where it made sense as far as like the overall picture.
And what if that way also deferred capital gains tax on the sale of cryptocurrency, high-end luxury primary homes, businesses? In other words, remember the 1031, it only applies to investment real estate. And you're absolutely right. Biden is proposing a potential elimination or reduction of the 1031 exchange, which essentially means they're going to take only $500,000 of gain for the 1031 and allow you to do that. But he's also proposing a doubling, just about doubling the federal from 20 to about 40% of the capital gains tax rate, eliminating the stepped-up basis. So there's like so many challenging headwinds. But if there's a way to defer tax on cryptocurrency, primary luxury homes, save a failed 1031 exchange, public or private stock, what would that mean for you and your clients, Kyle?
I mean, it would make a much more the velocity of money and the movement of money and the ability for folks to transact more frequently, I think would be great, and it would be a really solid market. I mean, it would take away the hesitation that a lot of folks have that they won't sell. So a lot of people become penny foolish, right? Where at the end of the day, they won't sell because they want to pay a gain. And you see in crypto a lot, especially folks that kind of held on when we had the crash recently in the last few weeks, right? So I owned a lot of Bitcoin. I owned a lot of ADA. I owned a lot of Ethereum. And I sold all of it the day after Saturday Night Live when Elon Musk was on. And I said, I'm going to lock these gains in. I had about a 100% to 200% gain. I had a really solid gain there, and I said I'm going to lock these in and not be the guy holding the bag. And since then, I've gotten back in, but I think a lot of folks don't sell because they're scared of capital gains. But I say to people all the time, well, you don't have to worry about a gain if you have a loss, so you can pick either way. I mean, your choice.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all that being said, I was teeing you up. By the way, Kyle and I have never met before until just 10 seconds before the show started. And so he probably doesn't, he's so busy. He's selling, 500 homes a year. He doesn't have probably know what I do, but we help people, Kyle. We do a thing called a Deferred Sales Trust. And it's actually the passion behind that was the '08 crash when people really got hurt. And we found out that there's something that's not a Delaware statutory trust, it's not a 1031, and it works for cryptocurrency. In fact, we're doing an Ethereum case right now. It's a $12 million Ethereum case. Check this out, Kyle. They bought it for $100,000. Just a couple in the Bay Area. $100,000 over about like 5 or 6 years. Okay, it jammed up to $6 million in 2017. They're giving high fives. But they're looking for a tax deferral strategy, and just like that you were saying before, they're not selling because they don't want to pay the tax. They can't find anything in 2017. Guess what? Things crash. Now they're upset. Now they're bummed. Well, guess what? 60 days ago, it went up to about $9.5 million. Now they find us and they're like, "Oh, this is amazing. We want to defer our tax." They ask some questions. It goes up to $12.5 million. Then it cut back again, right? And so in this window here, we're still going to sell. They're still going to do great. But the point is, they're going to sell and defer about $5 to $6 million of capital gains tax. But here's the transformation. Once the funds are in the trust, guess what you can do with them? Well, you can buy investment real estate, multifamily property that gives cash flow. What does that cash flow do for them? Well, even 5 or 6% on $10 million, they never have to work again. Two kids, right? They work 50, 60, 70-hour weeks, and it's a lot, right? And so now you have a chance to just transform your wealth, transform your time and your energy. So that is what we do here at Capital Gains Tax Solutions. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com and learn more about the Deferred Sales Trust. That being said, Kyle, you have any questions on that? Or?
No, I think that's a good strategy. Obviously, that's super helpful and can be helpful for folks in that position, and it can avoid that. I don't want to sell because I don't want to pay taxes. So I think that's a great strategy to have and a strategy for people to implement. And we can definitely talk offline on that.
Yep. And the last one, we just luxury homes. We just did a house in Palo Alto. It was a high-end $8.3 million sale. And as you know, as a real estate professional, the 1031 exchange does not apply to primary homes. You have to rent it out or leave it out. Well, the Deferred Sales Trust works for a primary home. So he sold the home, deferred the tax, and moved. Otherwise, without that, he'd either have to move out for 2 years and try to do a 1031, which he did not want to do, or just not even sell the house. So this works for primary homes as well. All that being said, Kyle, are you ready for the lightning round?
Go.
All right. So knowing what you know now, if you go back to your 25-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget you'd make sure to tell yourself to do?
Don't worry about the money right now. Get the experience.
Excellent. Second question. What's the number one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year? It can be a podcast too, because you said you don't really read books.
No, but the one book, Automatic Millionaire by Dan something or other. Great book. One of probably the last books I ever read.
Excellent. Automatic Millionaire. Third question. What's the number one leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by?
Be better today than yesterday and better tomorrow than today.
What are you most curious about right now?
What is in it for me next? What's the next big play?
What's the biggest obstacle facing your real estate business?
How do I leverage myself to overcome somewhat of a ceiling on the amount of transactions I can do personally?
What's the biggest opportunity you see for your real estate business?
Coaching.
Awesome. This is the fastest lightning round I've ever been on. This is why Kyle's closing 500 deals. I'm just used to moving like that. You're getting a glimpse into Kyle here, which I love. I got some guys, I got a lightning round. I can only ask them like 2.5 questions. And I'm like, wow, this is, and maybe not hearing the lightning round. They're just going on. Okay. This is the last question. Then we'll let you go. You've achieved all the success. You've helped so many people. You've been the number one in Keller Williams multiple years. You're probably going to be the number one in Century 21, right? You're very successful with what you do. You're the top in the industry. After all that success, Kyle, how do you stay centered in your values and stay encouraged to reach for new heights?
So you need to put things in perspective and understand that what you've achieved can be here today, gone tomorrow, and appreciate the opportunity that you've been given and the gifts that you have, and take that to a level that take that to a level that unfortunately a lot of people don't have an opportunity to, and really fulfill everything that you have inside of you, everything that you're meant to be, and just really say, complacency can happen when time is up, and the time's not up yet. So at that point, you do everything you possibly can to be the best version of you.
Amazing. An attitude of gratitude and realizing that yesterday is not promising results today, and to go after it and keep building on what you've been given. Don't take it for granted. Absolutely love that, Kyle. Hey, Kyle, for our listeners who want to get in touch with you, what is the best place for them to find you?
So I would say for me, I mean, my phone rings all the time. Why not be another phone call or text message? You can call me or text me at 508-726-3492. Or you can email me at kyle@seybothteam.com, or you can visit seybothteamhomes.com. But I'm always accessible. We've got other real estate agents that have questions. I get people that reach out all the time. Try to do it on a Saturday or Sunday. During the week's too crazy.
Amazing. By the way, Seyboth is spelled Seyboth, and then team.com is the website. Seyboth is the last name. Team.com. Kyle Seyboth, thanks for being on the show, and encourage you to keep using the relentless work ethic and hunger and practicing perfect practice, making perfect, and helping your team, helping your clients, and keep using the gifts and talents you've been given to make a difference in this world. I appreciate you being on the show, and also want to thank our listeners for listening to that episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. As always, we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy. And using the Deferred Sales Trust to sell your cryptocurrency, high-end primary home, business, save a failed 1031 exchange is the best way for you to exit your highly appreciated asset. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to learn more. And if you're a business professional and you want to learn how to use this Deferred Sales Trust to actually grow your business, like this is a lot of tax talk and it seems kind of complicated, but guess what? We have a coaching program for that. It's called experttaxsecrets.com. I'm going to literally try to download my brain and my experience into your brain so you can grow your business. I want to give you all my secrets away. It's called experttaxsecrets.com. That's experttaxsecrets.com. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for watching or listening to this show. Please rate, review, subscribe. We cannot grow without your support, and we so appreciate any likes, any shares, any tagging anyone on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. All of those things are really helpful. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.